Well, hello, everyone. Great to see everyone here. Happy Sunday, and welcome to Careers, Chaos, and Coaching. And Melissa and I are happy to be back. It's, I don't know where you all are, but here outside of Washington, D.C., it's a little chilly and cloudy, and it's supposed to snow this Thursday and Tuesday and Wednesday. But if you're joining us live, let us know where you're joining us from. Go ahead and put in the chat what city, state, country you're coming from. Also, let us know if you're team live or team replay. One of the reasons why this is important is because when we look at the chat, that's how we know who's joined us. So that's how I can say hi to Sia and David and Kenny and Adrian, because I know that they are commenting in the chat and it allows me to see them. So it's great to see everyone there. Thank you for joining us. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about networking, because look, at the end of the day, you can't ever stop working on your networking game. I think there's always opportunities to improve and enhance on it. So Melissa and I are here to talk about that today. And so David, thank you so much for joining us as always. Sia, I hope the mic sounds good, because I'm loving it right now, I gotta tell you. And then Kenny, you write so much. Let me just here's Kenny. It's so wonderful. The heartfelt messages that you send out, Kenny, are always so kind. So we always appreciate them. And so we are going to invite you all up a little bit later up here to join us on stage to share your networking strategies, to ask questions, or just to share your experiences. And so before we do that, let's do some introductions. Houston, first of all, how are you doing on the Sunday? How's your Sunday going? How's your week been? Anything exciting, new? Hopefully no trees fell in your house. I don't know, that kind of stuff.
No, the house is in one piece. I have maybe lost my mind a bit with my indoor garden. I don't know if you guys have been following the story of my friend Omar, who entrusted me with a spider plant while he was moving. And that plant became a few other plants, and then those plants started to have baby plants, and now I probably have 300 babies sitting in my windowsill. I went and bought these little mini red solo cups to propagate in, and they're the cutest little things. But there's probably 2 or 3 per cup at this point, and I have decided to try to just get the community full of plants. And so I'm selling them on the local marketplace. I might even set up a little booth at some point, but I really want a greenhouse. And so that's where I'm at. That's how I'm coping with life beyond the internet and LinkedIn and networking and business, right? But the other part of it is I had a phenomenal sunrise this morning. It has been so snowy and cold in Washington, and I don't mind it so much. I spent time in the Midwest, so I can handle the snow. I can handle that, but it's been really hard to handle like the bright white of the sun without any cloud in the sky, and the contrast of too many clouds and not enough sun. So I'm kind of really pleased to have a slightly cloudy sky, letting the sunlight hit the clouds at different spots, having the breakage. I live where Bob Ross painted. If you're trying to envision where I'm at this morning, I watched the sunrise in a Bob Ross photo painting moment, and it was live and it came to fruition. And honestly, Felipe, that's one of my favorite ways to start the day. No matter what's going on in life, I like to be up with the sun. I like to try to watch it when it goes to sleep. I like to take that pause and just go, hey, may not be perfect, but it's ours, right? We can make the day ours. So I'm glad to be here. Really.
Well, it sounds like you're making the most out of your week. For me, it's been a hectic week. There's been a lot going on, and I'm not gonna dive into a lot of the work stuff, but just if you're watching the news, you know that people's jobs are being impacted. So, I have friends who are being impacted, and it can be a very sad time for a lot of people. But networking is definitely one of those things that can help. And as far as me, I've just been hanging out, had some family in town. We have some people over to watch the Super Bowl tonight. Nothing too excited about the Super Bowl, because I'm not an Eagles or a Chiefs fan, really. Either way, I just like the Eagles more than the Chiefs, I'll say. But outside of that, we're just gonna have some fun and just enjoy each other's company and watch the Super Bowl together, and halftime commercials, all that fun stuff.
Okay, so I am excited about the commercials. Give me a thumbs up, guys, if you love the commercials, because, oh, sorry, let me calm down. It's a little early. Hold on. Um, it is the marketing Super Bowl, right? Like, forget the sports ball event. That's cool. Me too. Like, Cardinals were out a while ago. Seahawks not in either, and they're my backup team. And the Lions also not there. So it's like, well, what am I watching for? Well, I'm watching for the commercials, and I'm going to be honest with you. Um, it's always interesting to see how it happens, right? I remember there was this whole outage because of one QR code. I've seen stuff really rile people up. I've seen people sell out a product, or a ripple of we quote the commercial later. I can think of some frogs that aren't allowed to really advertise in a lot of ways because of youth, right? We're not trying to market to children, but oh, did that ripple happen for years with them chanting the name, the three of them? And so I don't know. I'm really curious to see what happens. As far as football, I hope it's a great game. I hope we're on the edge of our seat the whole time, because let's be honest, who wants to watch somebody just run off with it? I would like to see it be balanced in some way this week, where we kind of just go back and forth and like make it fair, and have good calls and have everybody see what's going on and agree. And wouldn't that be the best way to play today?
That's a wonderful dream. Yes. So,
Let's do that. When we start the day here, we're going to set that precedent. Let's do it.
All right. Well, so here's one thing about the Super Bowl commercials, or two things about Super Bowl. One, as you were talking, I got a little pop up, and it was like a news, flash, news break. I'm like, oh no, what happened now? And you know what it said? It said Matthew McConaughey will be unrecognizable in today's Super Bowl commercial. So there's something to look forward today. Apparently, whatever commercial he's in, he's going to be unrecognizable.
Listen,
but
all right.
All right, calm down.
Anything? No, not at all. That's the most exciting part of the Super Bowl. And also, there's a pre-show with Post Malone, and I don't know if I told everybody yet, but that's a concert we're going to this summer, and so I'm really excited to see him. Yeah,
I love Post Malone.
Yeah, I'm taking the family to Post Malone and Jelly Roll. It'll be my teenager's first big concert. She gets to sit between the two biggest fans. Spotify has given us trophies for being like Posty and Jelly Roll's top fans, respectively. My husband holding onto Jelly Roll's title, and me, Post Malone. But I got to be honest, how cool is that to have that moment come together? And I'm just like, fingers crossed, to be honest. I just don't know what it's going to look like. But it should be a great event today, guys. And I want to know, what was your favorite Super Bowl commercial? Before we move on and really get into our intros, what was your favorite Super Bowl commercial ever? Is there one marketing commercial, even if you don't know what they were selling, that like you can envision it still on the screen? And then, do you remember the M&M's commercials? Because they're probably on the top of my list. Just a shout out before I ask everybody else. That would probably be at the top of my list. Anything they've ever done, and then anything with the frogs, because that was really. Well,
I mean,
I want to be careful not to market. Yeah, that one.
But also, don't forget, one of the most famous ones was the Michael Jackson one, where his glove or his hand, he caught fire and everything, and that's why
Pepsi.
Pepsi commercial. Yeah. So, all right. Well, as you all think about commercials, and put it in the chat, in case you're somebody who maybe, my wife, huge college football fan. She went to Ohio State University. You all have heard me talk about that in the past. But pro football, she hasn't been as excited about pro football. So when it comes to Super Bowl, she understands the excitement. But she found a few years ago online, you can Google it, Super Bowl bingo sheets. And it's basically, did you see this commercial? Did you see, was there a Doritos commercial? Did somebody score a touchdown? Did someone fumble? Did you see this during halftime? Did some, and so it makes it fun, engaging for everyone, even for those that maybe aren't as into the game. So I encourage you all to, network within your own family, get people involved, because networking is also not about just you getting involved, but about getting others involved. So before we dive into the topic, just a few reminders for all of you all. We are going to invite you up here on stage in probably about 20 minutes or so. We will put the link in the chat so that y'all can join us. It's very easy on Restream. But we are streaming live on LinkedIn and on YouTube. And if you're not following me on YouTube, I am trying to grow my YouTube page, as is Melissa. I don't have a QR code for Melissa because I should have done that for today. I apologize. But I do have a QR code from Melissa's website, so we'll get that in a minute. But if you wish to follow me on YouTube, I do have playlists for Careers, Chaos, and Coaching, so you can check out all the past ones we've done, and also for the other shows I do, Workplace Wellness, as well as the Social Saturday Chat. So check it out. Help me get my YouTube subscribers up, as well as check out Melissa's YouTube page and help her get her subscribers out. She just started hers. Check it out. She's got 2 shorts on there that look really good. So please help us with that. Here is Melissa's website. If you're not following Document and Act, check it out. She does great work. We talked about what a great coach she is. This is a chance for you to learn more about her. So scan that QR code for Melissa so that you can see and learn more about her. And with that being said, I'm going to, let's dive into the topic. All right, Houston, what do you think? You think it's time?
Well, I mean, guys, yeah, let's get started. I would say, can I just set a few ground rules? Let's play nice today. I've noticed, and I'm not going to get into it because we're going to play nice, but there's some stuff. There's some ripples in the water outside of this platform right now. Some of it's leaking over. I'm responsible for some of the conversation, but today we're just going to talk networking, strategizing, coming together, making sure we find a way to meet in the middle, right? I'm a big fan of the Venn diagram. So let's talk about that centerpiece. Anything that doesn't overlap into that center today, not relevant, let's keep it there. If you want to talk sports ball, let's do that. And I joke, I love football, but really, let's just give it the credit it deserves. It's one game, a small game, and a big ripple. Wonderful to be on the finish line, to be at the top, right? To be in the playoffs and then to the Super Bowl. We all want to get there. But it's how we play when we get there that matters. And so let's be respectful, let's be kind, and let's not make it what it isn't. It's just knowledge sharing today. It's just coming together to do the thing. So
Well said. So well. Look at us, Houston. We're and there's no chaos yet has ensued, but give it time. Give it time,
no
y'all.
Promises it won't.
It's Melissa and I. It can happen at any moment in time. So all right. So let's talk about networking real quick, because I wanted to share. Me and Felipe 5. I want to share 5 quick benefits of why networking is important. But then I really came up with 5 networking strategies for those that maybe are a little anxious or maybe are more introverted, and just give you some suggestions there. Okay. But first and foremost, the benefits. I mean, let's call spade a spade. There's a lot of benefits. One, you learn from others. You gain insights. You learn about different industries, different jobs, different people. So there's always that learning benefit that you're going to learn from others. But also, number 2, you get introduced to decision makers. You get to make amazing connections with people who can influence maybe your career or business. So it's those introductions that you normally would not get if you didn't try to network. The third thing, you get to practice your elevator pitch. You get to practice telling people what you do and how you do it in a succinct, easy way that's easy for people to remember, easy for you to say, and doesn't require you to speak to them for like 20 minutes for them to understand. So being able to practice and refine how you present yourself and what you do is always a huge, huge benefit and a skill you always want to tweak. The fourth one, expands your industry network. You get to meet with people in different fields, and collaborate and learn. It might not be a field that you want to work in, but you definitely get exposed to it. And your network, you get to meet other people that maybe do a similar job that you do, but in a completely different industry. And then 5, it just enhances your overall skills of networking, talking to people. It opens doors. It provides you growth opportunities. You learn innovative ideas. So it really is just, again, enhancing the skills. So those are just some of the benefits I wanted to share really quickly. But here's some things that you can do if it's something that maybe you think you're not great at it, or maybe you're just scared about doing it or nervous. One thing I'll say about that fear or that anxiety about going out to an event like that is that a lot of times, once you get there, you're a lot better off than you thought you were. And when you leave, the experience is usually a lot better than you expected. So don't let that fear before you even get there stop you from the opportunity of benefiting from that networking event. So for those of you that maybe are a little fearful or more introverted, start small. Do online what you're doing right now. Everyone right now that's commenting, Margaret, Aaron, Ollie, Kenny, Tracy, Gregory, obviously Melissa, Stephen, Brian, Jenny, all of you all right now are already taking that first step. All of you have already started small by networking here on this platform. Those of you that are listening and not chatting, that's your first step. Add to the chat. That's a small way of networking that allows you to engage with the online community and people here on LinkedIn or even on YouTube. And then comment on posts and send personalized messages. These are small little things you can do. Number 2, set a goal for yourself. Decide to meet one new person a week or at each event even. If you attend 1 or 2 or 3 events a week, say, okay, I'm going to pick Sia, I'm going to pick Jenny, I'm going to pick Steven, and I'm going to send them a personalized DM and say, hey, we were both in Melissa and Felipe's room. I really loved your comment about how funny Melissa is. Do you like Jelly Roll or do you like Post Malone? Whatever that intro line is, find a way to have that conversation with somebody and introduce yourself. And look, if it doesn't turn out, at least you tried. The 4th one, which might be one of the more important ones for that first time going to a networking event, especially if it's in person, get a buddy or a partner to go to the event with you. Have them attend with you online, have them attend with you in person. But having that partner attend events with you, it eases the pressure and you all can support each other. And then maybe you all can say, okay, we're going to separate and we're going to meet 3 different people, come back and tell each other about the 3 different people we met. And so you can kind of make it a little competition. And the 5th one, which is really important, follow up thoughtfully with those people that you met. If you got their LinkedIn and connected with them on LinkedIn, maybe they gave you a business card, maybe they're old school, maybe they stayed back afterwards and chatted with you towards the end. Follow up with them. Let them know, hey, it was great meeting with you. Look forward to chatting again. Let me know if you know of any events, or hey, I'm attending an event next month. Here's information about it. Let me know if you'd like to join me. So those are just 5 small things that people can do. But here's the thing. If you're looking for a job right now, if you're looking to grow your business, if you're looking to get new clients, or if you're just looking to get out of the house because you work remotely and you need to interact with other professionals or other colleagues in your field, these are simple things that you can do to get that ball rolling. And it's important for you all to start trying. And I love for you all to tell me in the chat, what's one thing that's worked for you, that's helped you network if you were having a little bit of fear or anxiety about it. What's one thing that you've done, or what's the last networking event you went to? So share that in the chat. Houston, what are your thoughts about what I shared? What would you like to add? I'm curious.
Well, and honestly, networking is where it's at, guys. As somebody who has been in sales, marketing, it was always who I knew, not what I knew, because I couldn't prove what I knew on paper beyond a resume. I didn't get a lot of formal education. I went into work and I just did a great job. And so knowing who to contact at a company, having a resource to get into that business helped me. Being kind to the receptionist at a company, talking to them before asking to go on. If Felipe were to say, hey, thanks for calling ABC company, how can I help you? I would say, hey, Felipe, how you doing today? What's going on? And I could tell based on Felipe's response. He's like, hey, yeah, it's busy today. And I'm like, oh no, I hope it's a good busy. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Is Bob available or whatever? And, this is imaginary Bob we always use when I'm talking. But the value of that really is unmatched, in my opinion, because what I found out working in smaller businesses, especially, and just learning on the grow, right? Networking to the point where I am, and even meeting Felipe this way, it was treating people like they're human and like they tie their shoes on their way to work. And, they probably woke up and needed to stretch because they're old like me a little bit or something. And it's just normal, everyday humans, but then serving. Like, let me serve them a smile if I expect one in return. And it's sales 101. If you guys understand, you just communicate, you talk, you listen, follow up, even having that conversation with Felipe, like, hey, Felipe, it's Tuesday. We spoke on Friday. I was busy. Is it any better today? Being able to have that feedback, right? But you actively have to listen. And so I would say communication matters in networking. I think you also need to do it before it's important. And so your clients, your customers, your friends, your connections, your colleagues, get to know them now. Because if I tap into Felipe and ask for a referral to a business and say, hey, Felipe, I'm on the line for a big contract. They want somebody who's done some collaboration with me. We've worked in multiple facets together. Would you mind speaking on my behalf? He can. He can adequately warn them. He can say, hey, she really needs this kind of function or structure maybe to make it work. You're going to have to give her some time to assess before she really applies her solutions. He can give them that guidance. He can say, yes, she's fantastic, or he can warn them, hey, maybe it's not a good fit based on what I'm hearing about you guys and what you're asking for. And I would trust his opinion in that way. But the other part of it is I've lived through layoffs, and in these times where I'm seeing a lot of these posts popping up again, it is important to do this before you need it, right? Like having the fire extinguisher in the house is important before the fire gets there. You can't go to the store and get back in time. And it's the same concept with networking. And I hate to put it that way, but your business, your professional, your personal even, all my friends are on LinkedIn now. If they didn't start here, they've either migrated over from the other networks because they know I live here too, or I created new friendships and they're really important to me, right? Also, Felipe, international bestsellers. We get to say that because we networked. And so it's not just for jobs, but it's for opportunity, and it's for connections, and it's for real life moments. And so, guys, don't just be intentional about networking for that purpose, because it can get really pitchy if you go, hey, I'm networking to sell this product. I'm networking to make connections who can introduce me to these kind of people. Yeah, that's valuable, but I don't care about any of that until I know who you are. Because I would never refer you to Felipe unless I understood what you could do for him and if you would hurt him in some way, and vice versa. It's the background screener in me. I like to get to know people before I put my stamp on them. It's just what I do. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but at least, again, we can warn of pitfalls. Like, yeah, Felipe would be super great at this, but maybe he shouldn't teach a table etiquette class because he laughs at us if we don't like you to chew its food with in your mouth, right? So Felipe, those are my tips. They're like a little bit different skew. It's not really how to network, but it's like why and where and when, I think is the more important part.
Those are such important things. And okay, so you're gonna laugh, but you talked about chewing, and Melissa and I had this thing about misophonia. If you don't know what it is, Google it. But my wife says she has it. Melissa says she has it. And it's basically sensitive to certain noises like chewing and things of that sort. But here's a little tip for networking. If you go to a networking lunch, do not eat food that you need to use your hands. For example, a hamburger. It's just messy. It gets all over your face sometimes. You want to be smart about what you're eating. So along with the tips as Melissa was talking, and maybe just think about something that I got taught a long time ago. It was a sales director, and they were just like, this little small tip: don't ever buy or order anything that you need to use your hands with, because it can get messy. And if you need to shake hands all of a sudden, it just gets awkward. But other things about networking, and again, I want to welcome people who've joined us. It's great to see Henry and Stephen and Lisa, Tracy. We said hello earlier, but it's great to see you there. Brian, Bing, and who else? Aaron and Gregory, Liverpool. Thank you for joining us. Ali, of course, Margaret, and I think that's Marcello. Great to see you. It's been a while. Nice, thanks for coming. And we've got a lot of people in here, so we are going to be definitely inviting you up on stage very shortly.
And I want to argue with you for a second, because
I'm sitting. Go ahead.
I'm sitting here. You got to eat with your hands. Pizza is something I've had a lot of at a networking event, and it was fine. I can totally eat hors d'oeuvres at a networking event and it's fine. I think chicken wings are a big thing that we used to do as a group. And while it was messy, as long as you remember to not, you know,
Okay.
annoy the people next to
But
you.
here's the thing, though, Houston. Though, if you're going to a crab feast or a chicken wing barbecue kind of event where everyone's eating the same food, okay, that's different. But if you have a choice, if you're trying to get that next interview, that business client, you're trying to share people about your company, you don't want to have messy hands. You don't want to have barbecue on your face. You don't want to have
Okay, but
sticky
here's the
fingers.
argument. I've already shaken their hand or I wouldn't be eating. You don't order until everybody sits and is ready to do so. It's table manners 101.
Really? Oh, wait, Miss Houston, I'm sorry. Here's my friend, James. He just came up to the table. Let me introduce you to Melissa Houston. He would just
Hello,
shake your
James.
hand.
And you do a nice nod like the Queen of England would.
And James' hand's out there, and you're not
Or
shaking it.
I mean, come on, guys. Let's get in the comments. What is the answer? Because reality is, this is something I'm very passionate about. Is like my grandma used to want to, like, she could have ate with the Queen of England. She's the one who gave me guilt because I ate cantaloupe too fast at 5. So this is important to me. But I think, like, if the guy loves chicken wings and I'm the only other person willing to dive in with him, I win, right? And it depends on the moment for sure. But if I'm at a networking event where I'm going to a sports ball game like today, and they have wings in the suite, I'm not going to not eat them because I might have to shake a hand. I'm going to
Okay,
my left hand and keep my right hand clean.
Okay, there's a difference between a personal event that you're going to and a business. No, hear me out. I'm saying if you're going to the environment, a sporting event, if you're going to a crab feast, the environment is different because people there are doing the same thing as you. I'm saying if you go to have a meeting with somebody or you're going to an event and it's a lunch or a dinner where you're ordering and choosing the food that you're going to eat, if you have the option, it's just a recommendation, Houston. It's a recommendation.
Listen, I hate when somebody gets a steak and they scrape their knife on the plate.
That's your misophonia kicking in.
It is, but here's the thing. You just need to be polite at the table. It doesn't matter what you have. There's always a way to move in that moment. Be prepared for the situation you're in. If you're going to network at a sporting event, probably a little bit less important to focus on those things. Keep your shaking hand clean. It's smart money. Keep your drink in the hand that you don't shake with. That's also smart money. So you're ready to do the thing. But when you're getting into breaking bread with people, just be polite all the way through and do your best in the moment is what I would say. But if you're not sure, there are coaches who will teach you how to do this. There are etiquette classes.
Absolutely.
You can go to YouTube University and get some basic, etiquette figured out because it really does matter. And as much as I love all humans, if you chew with your mouth closed, chew with your mouth open while you're speaking to me, I really can't hear you anymore.
That's different. That's a whole different level of etiquette. Now Jenny's saying nachos, Adrian's saying, oh, no nachos.
Yes to nachos. Yes, Jenny, invite me. We're going.
Now, Ali says, it's very smart. BYOS, bring your own sanitizer. So that's not a bad thing. So, but I do think that there's definitely do's and don'ts of different things that you can do, and I think that it's definitely a judgment call based on the event, based on what you're trying to do, based on who you're with. But again, I'll still say sometimes you only get one chance to make that first impression, and if somebody's looking to make a decision that day and you make a bad impression, it could impact you. So it's just
okay. Here comes the chaos. I have a question. Let's say, and I'm not sure why, let's just say we're at a networking event, a few-day convention. We all meet in the hotel lobby. We're all getting our breakfast. And let's say you notice a business professional is pouring the milk into the bowl and then the cereal. What are your first thoughts, Felipe?
That doesn't bother me one way or the other, honestly.
Okay. Because there's a whole thread on the internet about how that is not okay. Now
that's like ketchup and mustard on your hot dog. That's not the debate.
I know, but listen,
but that's not etiquette.
I'm not going to get it just because it doesn't matter to you. Hold on. You will be judged for any reason, is my point, guys. And that's I'm getting judged for bringing it up, and he doesn't.
Hold on. I don't want people to go around worrying about others judging them. I'm just giving recommendations on things that could potentially help them avoid an awkward situation.
Let me
That's
ask
my
you
goal.
this though: would you bypass somebody
Minimize
because
those
they
situations.
couldn't shake your hand because they were eating?
Say that again.
Would you bypass somebody because, like, oh, Melissa, she's in the middle of like that spaghetti and Alfredo swirl, and maybe she's got garlic bread in her right hand right now. Do I want to wait? Do I just go, oh, I shouldn't approach her? Maybe I'll pause a second before I head to the table. Because I'll
That
be
might be
honest, that's the other
considerate.
thing, the
Yeah.
waitress thing. I hate when waitresses wait till you take a bite and come in and go, how's your food?
Yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
But not everyone's that considerate. Not everyone's that
So just
considerate.
that's the point, right? Work where you want to be. Be comfortable where you are. If you're not comfortable, fix the discomfort, but just move where you're comfortable, guys, and do it your way, because you're going to upset everybody anyway. I promise 10 people are mad at me right now. And all I did was wake up and like the sunshine on the window. Right? So that's the other rule, though. I think you really have to be secure on oneself and how you move to be able to do this. Because if Felipe and I get into an argument, we're secure in ourselves enough to not be bothered by it. There are others who might be offended if they had the same kind of discussion with one of us. And so we don't take this to networking events unless we're doing it for your fun, right? The Careers Chaos Coaching, we might do it personally. But if we were in a public professional forum, what are some of those rules you always follow? Like, what is that non-spoken rule that maybe was default built into you and you don't even realize it? If you had to give like a Cliff Notes version, what are the etiquette things? Don't, like you did one, don't eat messy things while you're going to maybe have to shake a hand. What would be others?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, let me put this link in the chat here, because I actually had a Felipe's 5 for college students, and I don't know if I remember all of them, but all right, I just put the link in the comments for you all to join us on stage if you'd like to do that. So here's one. You ready for this one? Do not have a limp handshake. Oh, dear Lord. I'm not saying that you have to have the strongest, firmest, tightest handshake ever, but you know what? I am not shaking the Queen of England's hand. Your hand should not be limp, and you'd be surprised at how many people have a limp handshake. It's awkward. It doesn't convey confidence. It does not convey, it sends a message of, okay, now I'm focusing on your handshake versus listening to what you're saying, so it distracts me from you. So a good firm handshake is important. I already mentioned the elevator pitch. That's the third thing. The fourth thing I would say is this. When you are walking into a networking event and you don't know a lot of people, which is usually the case, that's why you're going to a networking event, is to meet new people. If you see a crowd, and I'm saying like just 1 or 2 people, because that's a little more uncomfortable, a crowd of like 4, 5, 6, 7 people, all gathering, talking, laughing, just walk up and just start listening. And then if you see one person to the left or right, introduce yourself and say, hi, I'm Felipe, nice to meet you. People expect you to introduce yourself. It's a networking event. You're not going to seem like a nerd or out of the ordinary. But walking up to a large crowd and just joining the crowd and just do a slow introduction to someone to the side is such an easy thing to do. What you don't want to do is walk up to a private conversation of 2 people and try to interrupt that conversation. That's where it gets awkward. If you see 2 people talking, they might be having an intimate or private or confidential conversation that they really don't want to network at that very moment. And then the 5th thing is, what information are you taking away so you can reach them? Because if you're not talking to them, how are you getting their name? How are you getting their LinkedIn information? How are you finding out where they work and what they do? So are you writing it down on a notes pad on your phone? Or do you have a great memory? I don't know. Back in the day, collecting business cards was the way to do it, but now it's one of those things where, okay, great. If you got their name or you connected with them on LinkedIn, how are you going to remember when you get home? Oh, who was that person I connected with? So obviously going to your most recent connections is a way of doing that, but are you going to remember to go back and do that?
Hold on. So, before you move on, let me just add this, guys. I love to tell people to take a picture. Like, here's my card, but hey, why don't you take a quick picture? Because if it gets lost that way, it'll be in your phone. But here's the reason. On this day, in 12 months, if we haven't connected It might be time for another convention. It might be time to do the event or whatever, right? It might be a good tickle reminder that, dang it, a year ago I said I was going to do the thing. I didn't do the thing. Let me call her now. And so anytime you can say, hey, why don't we just take snap a picture of each other? You can save it as my name or like my photo in your phone. I always give the recommendation of why we would do that. But then they have the face, the name, the picture of the card. They have the photographic memory triggered. It helps me as well remember why I took the picture. I can put notes together. But use that contacts in your phone. And if they take a picture before they upload it to the contacts, on this day will work to your benefit in a sales marketing standpoint.
And so along those lines, one of the things that I do is I love my notes app on my phone. Okay. And I have one that's pinned to the top that's called New Contacts. Every time I meet someone new, I write down their name, where I met them, and then I copy their LinkedIn URL on there. So those 3 lines for each person. That way, when I'm like, oh, wait, I just met that person last month. Who was it? I go to my LinkedIn New Contacts notes page, and I just go through there. I'm like, there it is. That's the one. And so again, 3 things: their name, where you met them, and their LinkedIn profile. Those are the 3 things that you need, because remembering where you met them is a crucial thing, obviously. The rest of the information of where they work and who they are is going to be on the profile, and obviously the name is important. So just, those are just simple things there that we do. But again, these are just small little tips. Now, another thing also is people are like, how do I find out about these networking events? Well, social media is definitely a place where you have it, but you can also just Google, if whatever industry you're in, hey, networking events for teachers in Nebraska, coaching networking events in Seattle, HR events in DC. You're going to see events pop up. They may not be right away, but that's another way of doing it for in-person events, especially. But there's plenty of online events out there. You just got to do some of the work. Houston, what are your thoughts?
I love all of those suggestions. Really, it's coming back to taking good notes, guys. That's what I mean. Networking for me was coffee chats, right? We've talked about it. We kind of know it. But I started with a planner, just a journal, think first day of school, 80-page notebook, very comparable. And then as I grew, so did my notebook. And so did the way I wanted to document what I was taking. And so did the pillars that I was looking for. And so a lot of the things that helped me early on were, who is this person? And I have a coffee chats planner. I don't pitch it a lot on the website, but it's on the website, guys. But this sheet for me was, who is this person? Where do they work? What are a few things I learned? Who are some things, or who are people I want to meet that they can introduce me to? And then the same in reverse, like who can I introduce them to? And then I would have a few follow-up lines, because maybe, we met last week and then next week here we are on another event together, or we run back into each other at the same lunch spot we met last week. Whatever it is, I have follow-up notes. Now I learned about little Timmy in the baseball game, and I learned that they're, closing a $10 million contract at the end of the year if all things go well. There's all these things that you can document, keep in the notes, just in case. It doesn't mean you're going to take advantage of the moment, or, hey, now that Bob has this contract, I'm going to go take all his money. That's not what I'm saying, or that you need to make money on it. But what if they say, I have a $10 million contract to help feed the homeless, and then you have friends who are looking for funding to feed the homeless, and they need somebody who's on the ground and they have the money? It's that moment of overlap that I'm always looking for. And I'm a human. Felipe, I don't know if I told you this. I'm human, and my brain doesn't always function the way I want it to.
Well, I'm glad you're human, and we have 2 people who are joining us here on stage. I know. So,
and guys, thank you so much for being here in the comments section. I want to know, what are you sipping on? Are you at coffee? Is it already time to get into sodas and drinks? Are you doing mimosas? It's Sports Ball Sunday, right? What's going on? Let us know.
It's
all right. So
way too early to be drinking that type of stuff right now. It's 10:42 a.m. Central Time in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Melissa, way too early.
Yeah, that might be a little bit early for that, unless you're going to a brunch somewhere, maybe. But
And we're a global platform. I don't know. I'm allowed to ask the questions. It's cool. So Greg's not. Ollie, what are you sipping on? Are you doing coffee or tea this morning?
Well, I already drank my second cup of coffee. It's near 6 p.m. my time. I'm from Belgium. And yeah, so I'm coffee, and I will not watch the Super Bowl. I'm not fan of sport anyway. So, but I'm really happy to sip some good vibes with you.
so wait, I want to know, are you having some Belgian chocolate with your coffee?
Of course, of course. And even I decided to put the luxury to drop some bites of orange chocolate in my coffee. So it was delicious.
Very nice. Well, Ollie, tell us about you. And you do a lot of networking, obviously online, but what advice or questions you have around networking, whether online or in person?
Well, I think it's all about the same preparation as job interviews. Because there is either like boop, 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 I go in that place without any intention and I go with the flow, or I prepare myself. What is my energy? Do I feel energetic to handle space? Because recently, recently, a few years ago, I discovered that I'm a big empath. And so when there is too much people, when there is too much noise, I take on energies. And after that, I'm really exhausted, totally. And I have also the feeling I'm more tapping into my body. So even during the evening, when I don't feel well, I know that it's the time for me to get out, because when I'm not feeling good, it doesn't make sense to continue the networking because I'm not showing the best version of myself when I'm in front of people. So it's really about, especially when there are too much politics involved. Like I was leaving a meeting an evening because it was going too much political and blah 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 and blah 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 and vote for me and blah blah blah. So I think the most important is to have intention. And there was an anecdote. Before I yield the mic, there was an anecdote I was hearing from someone really interesting. Her name is Kathy Eller, and she was in a podcast event, and it was like these kind of people turning around the big profiles and really stressed. And she was not really willing to go further into this energy. So she decided to withdraw and get back into her hotel to have some rest because it was too much pressure, too much stress. And guess what? She had her badge, and then someone was there with also a badge of the networking, and they were discussing each other's. And this one was a big boss of the podcast of a podcast company. So it's also about knowing that it's not always good to be in, I love this metaphor, in the red ocean. Sometimes there are amazing gatherings when you decide to withdraw from the red ocean and you go to the blue ocean and go with the flow. So that's my share. Thank you.
Ollie, thank you for sharing that. A few points you made that were just so valuable is obviously you want to network and get involved in conversations that resonate with you, that maybe meet your values or aren't too political or a topic that you really don't want to get into. And I think it's important to know the audience that you're looking to network with, and that's important. But also, you brought up some points that made me think, and and I had this comment up here with David Pushkin that he said, do something unique, like wear a bright tie, great conversation starter. Let's talk about that, because here's something that I've seen so many people do. And I've seen guys say, oh, nice tie. The tie might have had a design on it. It might have had a team logo on it for some reason. It might have just been really bright. Ladies compliment each other on their shoes, on their jewelry, on their hair. These are conversation starters, y'all. Giving someone a compliment on their attire, on what they're wearing. Hey, nice suits, or whatever it might be. So think about those as opportunities to start that conversation with somebody if you're not sure how to do it. If you're not comfortable walking up saying, "Hi, my name is Felipe. Nice to meet you. What's your name?" Some people aren't comfortable doing it that way, that direct. So look at that. Another thing, you mentioned name badges, Ollie. And when people have name badges, you have the benefit of having their name. Do a little research. Pull up their LinkedIn profile, find out who they are, see if they're posting and creating content. Tell me if someone came up to you right now, Houston, and said, "Hey, I saw that post you wrote and it really, really, was inspiring when you talked about the sunsets and how you get up in the morning and get your day started. It really motivated me to start doing that more. Thank you for that." Tell me that wouldn't spark you to start talking to that person.
I literally just had somebody message me, and I'm going to keep them nameless because I don't have permission to share, but we got a compliment, Felipe. I always love how you and Felipe do your lives. The teamwork chemistry is there, and you truly show the magic of professionalism when you speak, which of course I can't say out loud. But the reality is, guys, something that simple, and it's a beautiful compliment, right? It doesn't have to always be that, but something like that does bring me back because you've taken time to invest your time to listen. Not only have you come once, you've come more than once. If you know that it's always, right? There's some consistency there in the way it was stated. And then on top of it, of course, I'm going to feel not only obligated, but I want to respond. I responded live. Most of you know I never do that unless I absolutely have the moment and I feel pushed. And I was right then. It can be simple. It could, and I got to give a shout out to Lauren Sermon. She's always at networking events. She's a recruiter. She does sales. She does it all, right? So one of the tips I heard on her show from somebody, you'll have to let her tell me who it was she always has that Army go bag kind of thing. And that's not what they called it, but that's where I went with my brain. It was like this little sack of goodies, the Mary Poppins bag of things you would need at an event. Do you need tape? Do you need super glue? Do you need a charger? Do you need a flat iron for your hair? Do you need a spritzer? Whatever it is, right? Just having those little extras. Oh, you didn't bring a pen? Here's an extra one. I brought 10, right? Maybe it has your logo on it. Maybe it has your company branding on it. Maybe you're just being a nice person and you picked up a bunch at the dollar store when you were there doing something else. Who knows? But being a resource. The other thing I would do, Felipe, is I loved my background screening events. Going to the annual conventions, learning, compliance, networking, talking to each other. But something I was really passionate about was vetting my vendors, my service providers. I was always looking to level up my suppliers because if I level them up, my clients get leveled up service. And so always on the go, always looking, always testing. And so when I get to the event, one of my favorite things to do is talk to other vendors about their issues, right? I'm a consultant. Yes, they are the competition, the competitors. But what I would do is just talk to the humans who were doing things that they were passionate about, like me, right? We're all in this together when we're at this event. And so I would talk to Sally or whoever it was about their county research. They're like, "Oh yeah, we struggle in this one. What are you guys up to? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I have the solution. Let me introduce you to my person." And I would drag my competition to my vendor's booth and say, "So-and-so, you need to talk to this person. This is who we work with. These are their hour turnaround times. They're going to help you take care of pricing because I know they're good people. Hey, I don't know this lady. I just met her here, but she needs your service." And I'd walk away. And then I'd come back in another 30 minutes or so, comparable conversation. And you know what would happen is we would create relationships that grew beyond that moment. My vendors never haggled with me about pricing if I said I needed something. If I needed something expedited, they worked on it because I fed them first, even though they just had to, they were my service provider. It was required for them to help me, right? And they wanted to be the best at their craft. So by default, I got that. By being able to give back and really just put my recommendation on it. Guys, put some recommendations out there. Go and endorse the people who do cool things. If they've helped you do something, go say thank you and put a recommendation on the profile. Those little things help you network more effectively because their friends get to see you too, and you never know what that's going to do. Those are the ripples. Felipe?
So, and before we get to Gregory, I wanted to say, for those that are job seeking, after Gregory speaks, I'm going to share some job seeking strategies specifically of what you want to have ready to go in your arsenal when you go to a networking event. Okay. So with that, real quick, Ali, did you have any final comments you wanted to share before we move on?
Oops, sorry, I was trying to reach my mic. No, in fact, it's about being yourself, and remember that it's all will take place with flow. If you try to force something, to force your personality, or to force someone to connect with you, it will not be really with the flow. I think it's really important to do it with joy. That's why there is networking, and what if we can do net playing to bring your own color, your own personality? Because at the end, you are trying probably maybe to be someone who you are not, and then they discover it's even better when you can click and connect with people that are accepting you as your weirdo self. And it doesn't mean that you have to be fully weirdo, but it's really to bring your personality and your juice, and then you will attract, like building your own garden. Don't chase the butterflies, just build your own garden. That's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ali. Appreciate that. Just we are almost at the hour of the show. Just remind people, if you're not following us, check us out on LinkedIn. Follow Melissa's page here or website, Document and Act. And as always, if you can give me a follow here on my YouTube page, as well as Melissa's YouTube page, so we can help grow our YouTube channel as well. So with that being said, we are going to go on to our next speaker. And Gregory, you don't need to have your camera on, and we are doing audio only today, so just so you know. But please, what are your thoughts or questions about networking? The mic is yours.
First, before I start, how's the eye, Felipe?
It is actually getting better. Thank you for asking. I've been having an eye issue where I was getting a blurry spot in my eye, and it's not there all the time. So it's been slowly going away, and I've been practicing my relaxation techniques, breathing, exercising a little bit, and it's been helping. So thank you for asking.
Okay, very much so. Okay, there's a lot of things to unpack here. Okay, when I go to a networking event, I usually eat before I go because I do not know what is going to be served. So basically, I don't go on an empty stomach, basically, or empty stomach and stuff, because I hardly eat at networking events. Second point, I was at a kind of a networking event. It was a gala event, and I did wear a cowboy hat with the W on it. No, it was not the Washington Huskies or Washington State Cougars in terms of college. It had my CFL football team, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, on it, and I got a lot of response and feedback on it. And third of all, in terms of networking, a lot of people do not bring business cards to a networking event or a evening event, and that is one of my really pet peeves on that type of thing. And a lot of people bring and I was sitting at a table with a female cohort, and she basically we had the discussions on business cards for her company, and because the thing is, not a lot of people are on LinkedIn, and I will say that it is basically a provincial, which I will say that this is a Canadian, but I will say provincial is the same type of parallel as state. It is a statewide provincial problem.
Okay, I'm sorry. Listen, we're going to not do politics, so I don't want to talk about state and provincial stuff if we can. Let's just.
Melissa,
Okay.
I'm not politics here. I am not. I'm just saying that people who live in my neck of the woods network differently in terms of how people network down in the United States networking differently. It was not a political type of discussion, Melissa. So I'm just trying to basically because people are not that type of active in terms of LinkedIn. In my in my in my in my city and in my province to basically look to see if they are actively involved in contact making on LinkedIn and if they're even on LinkedIn in the first place, Melissa, in that realm. So it was not a political
Well,
type of.
and Gregory, I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, even in the States, we have people who are on LinkedIn and who aren't. It's not like by default we're more active here. And so I don't think there's a big difference globally anymore. The internet has changed it. There are some people who work that way and some don't. And that's what I want to focus on is there's no right answer for all anything. Not one place, not one industry, not one person. And so I don't want to make it sound like this place does it this way and this place does it that way. There's not any right answer for anybody. And so for you, that might be an experience, but we can talk about what works better than what's not being done in places, I think is what I'm trying to get at is let's not make the Venn diagram of my location, your location. It's how do you move to network in spite of your hurdles? What are you doing to actively find people? And if it's not on LinkedIn, guys, there's other platforms. There's a ton of networking options like chambers of commerce, different organizations and associations within your industry. And so don't think that LinkedIn is the end all be all to all answers because Felipe and I can tell you there's a lot of stuff we do off this platform that works and only benefits this platform when we're here, but it's not where we live and breathe always. This is not the end all be all answer, right, Felipe?
Yeah, and one of the things, and Gregory, you brought up a good point though, and one of the things I wanted to point out is that not everyone isn't on LinkedIn, and it might, whether it's because they don't have access to certain technology, or there are plenty of high-level professionals that I know are not on LinkedIn that I'm actually getting ready to do a class for a number of professionals and executives that haven't touched their LinkedIn in 10 years. And so it is very situational. And I think that there are people out there that don't have it. But to your point about business cards, Gregory, here's the one thing I'll say about business cards. There is so much value to business cards. I loved them and I hated them because the reality is I would always have a stack on my desk that I needed to log or put into my phone or into a spreadsheet or something. Now, in today's world, with us trying to become more environmentally friendly, go more paperless, there are other options to business cards, which I think for people that aren't on LinkedIn, it's a great option. Even if you are on LinkedIn, I actually did this for my last company. It was a cost savings measure because they were ordering business cards left and right. And I'm like, this is getting out of hand, y'all. We are in a digital age. So I found a company. They created bamboo business cards with a NFC chip in it, and basically, it's just like you see them nowadays, and they're fairly common now. Where you just touch the card, it looks like a credit card, so you keep it in your wallet or purse, and you just touch it to someone's phone. That person can accept that tap as a new contact, and all your information, including your LinkedIn URL, if you have a Instagram URL, if you have a website, all that goes into your contact into their phone. That I think is the solution of the future because A, it's quick, it's efficient, it's on their phone, it's paperless, and they're not going to forget it. So the fact that you brought that up, I think it was a really important point. I do want to highlight that your hat, I think, is again something that like David Pushkin mentioned earlier, wearing something that stands out. And I gotta say, eating before you go. At first, I was gonna say, well, you're going to a networking event. Most of the time, the food is free. You really don't need to go eat before you go. However, it's like going shopping at the supermarket hungry. It's not always the best. You don't make the best decisions. So going to an event where your first thought is, I'm starving, I need to eat, is probably not the best approach at a networking event. So I kind of agree with you is get something in your stomach so you're not
Plus,
starving.
plus you can be
Go ahead.
served there too, so you never know. So
I'm sorry, say it again.
you don't know what will be served at the event that could go coalesce to your dietary, or if you're on a or if you don't, or you're you're not falling in love with the food that they're putting out there and stuff. So
excellent point. If you're gluten free, if you're a vegan, if you don't like the food they're serving, that's actually another good point there. I didn't even think about. So, Gregory, excellent point. Thank you for bringing that up. Appreciate that. And for those of you in the audience, again, we still have a little bit of time left. I'm going to put the link in the chat again so that it is at the top of the chat, because I know that with the comments, it can get moved up and people can disappear it. And Ali, I appreciate you. Ali reposted it there as well. But we invite you all to come up. This is definitely a conversation where we want you all to learn how to network better. And there might be conversations that we have not been tackling. Now, there's some comments here I wanted to touch on really quick here.
Wait, hold on. It's also the top of the hour, so can we introduce ourselves to people who have not met us yet, maybe?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do a refresh.
All right, go ahead. You first, my friend.
All right. So, guys, I am Melissa Houston, cultivator of dreams, motivator of human capital. And that means a whole lot of nada unless you are following me on LinkedIn. But really, I just want to make sure you're not missing the content. We cover a bunch of stuff. We give it away for free on this platform. Often, we can even come on site and do some events. I love Felipe mentioned that he is talking to these executives who haven't touched their LinkedIn in a while, right? Because that was me. I had 1,200 people I genuinely knew, connected with, networked with, engaged, tried to sell to. And then I got really bored and COVID was happening. And I was just like, let me change it up a bit. And I got public and loud on LinkedIn, and it changed everything, literally changed my life. So if you're not doing it, I think you should. If you need help, reach out to Felipe, reach out to me, reach out to anybody in your network you trust. And if you don't have anybody yet, get to know some people. The last thing I really want to say is I highly endorse Felipe for coaching. And I know he does a lot of this stuff I do, but there are some special things that I hate doing that I highly recommend you talk to him about. And that is resume writing, for one. I can review your resume, but he would help guide you in a way I won't. The other thing I think you should really reach out to him about is just like kind of some career development ideas right now. If you're not looking for work now, are you certain you won't be in 6 months? Because to be honest, we're looking at an uncertain time in the labor area. This is something I have been assessing for a very long time. And we're at a point where I'm uncertain. And I don't really feel that way very often. I've been really good at guessing. Assessing is another way you might put that. But right now, it would be a really smart time to network. This is why we picked this topic, is it's a good time to do it before you need it. If you haven't touched your LinkedIn because you don't think you'll need it, it's probably a bad idea. Think of it as insurance. Think of it as that thing you can fall back on in case. And it doesn't have to be in case you need a job or want to start a business or buy a product. Maybe it's in case you need somebody to talk to while you're going through something hard. Because that's where my friends were found that I call on now. Maybe you just want to support people who are going through hard times while you're not. That could be another reason you get busy here. Right? Maybe you want to help in some way and you haven't figured it out. This is a way you could do that. There are people here who are actively working in their industries to do amazing things. And it doesn't matter what it is. This is the place to get it done. So reach out to Felipe if you need help. Keep coming back to the shows. If you need it for free, we're here. And you should be asking questions. If you don't want to pay for coaching, this is that time. So drop them in the comments because we're going to assess and address before we go. Felipe?
Thank you, Melissa. And again, please check out Melissa's website for Document the Act. Before I introduce myself, I just got to tell you, she is somebody who, some people have natural skills, and her ability to coach people and not make it about her is something that does not always come naturally to people. People tend to make things about themselves. And so whether you know somebody that might need a coach, you know somebody that is, probably asking for a coach, or maybe you need someone, or you just want, Melissa's a great person to have that initial conversation with to determine if you even need one. And she'll also be the first one to tell you that, hey, you know what? I'm not the right coach for you, but I know somebody that might be. She's not going to automatically assume that she can solve every one of your problems. If she's not the right person, she'll introduce you to somebody that can help. So I just want to encourage you all to check out her website. Now, for those of you that I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Felipe Cofino. I'm a passionate HR executive. I've been in HR for 30 years. I am a career coach. I'm very passionate about helping people find the right job with the right company, the right culture. And I'm a LinkedIn enthusiast. I've been honored to be named LinkedIn Top Voice this year. I love doing audio rooms and live streams here with people like Melissa Houston and others. It's a way of giving back because so many people helped me out through my career, and it's a chance for me to give back and do something that I love doing and helping others the way I got helped as I grew up. And selfishly, this is the kind of stuff that I want to do when I retire. I want to keep on helping people in the workplace, helping people find jobs, helping people enhance their skills and learn and train, because I enjoy doing it. And so wherever I am, hopefully not in a nursing home where everybody forgets about me. Hopefully I'm at a lake house looking over a nice water scene. But those are the things that networking opportunities opens those doors to get you thinking. So that's I'm excited to be here with all of you all. And with that being said, I'll say it one more time. Melissa and I are trying to grow our YouTube page because honestly, when we stream now all our audio rooms, they automatically stream to LinkedIn now and they stay on our page and we can stream them to YouTube. So that has been something that we've been able to do. And so this is my YouTube page. I only got like 50 some followers, y'all. It's not like I'm anywhere
That's
close.
huge. Wait, hold on. You're not allowed to say only because I think I have 5. But here's the thing. I also am so excited that we're going to start capturing this stuff because there's so many people who are coming to me later. I never was a big fan of this, guys, at all. I hated the thought of having to do all this extra work, if I'm being honest. But also the privacy, right? We miss it a little bit, and I know it. But there are people who come back days later and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad this is recorded now. I was busy on that day, and this is where it's at, and this is what it did for us." It's incredible, and that we can capture and put it on different platforms, right? Because we have seen platforms threaten to disappear, or they have been, put on pause for a minute. What happens if it disappears tomorrow? Where are you beyond here? Because like I said, LinkedIn's cool and I love it and I give it a ton of credit for what I've accomplished recently. But it's a facet, right? It's a tool, Felipe. And so we have to make sure we're diversifying and not relying on one tool.
Absolutely. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it giving us that option is that we're able to still diversify. If something happens to one, we have something else that at least shows that, hey, we did work and it's still there somewhere, But also, here's the other thing. For me, Melissa and I, you and I have been doing this for what, almost 2 years now. And one of the things that we always said that people always told us is that they would miss our shows. Maybe it was different time zones. And so, oh, thank you. I'm up to 57 now. Woohoo! All right. And so, and oh, hold on, wait. Okay, sorry. And so one of the things that I think is wonderful is that our last show, Melissa, at the end of the show, it had 257 views, I think it was. A week later, it went up to 610 views. What that told me was that there were definitely people, they meant what they said. They missed our show. They wished they could catch it. They wanted to see it. And now because they are recorded, people have the opportunity to go back and listen. And honestly, it's also a great thing for job seekers. So let's talk about this real quick here, because I promised you all I would give you some tips about job seekers. The link to join us on stage is down there. So whether you have questions for yourself or for others, here's a chance to do it, because a question that you ask might help somebody else listening, or you might be helping somebody that you know. But first and foremost, if you're a job seeker and you are going to an event, do research. Research who's putting on the event. Research who is the keynote speaker, if there is one. Research the location, the topics, if they have a list of all the speakers that are presenting, and really learn about them. Because if you get a chance to talk to them, you want to have some of those talking points ready on your phone so that you can say, okay, oh, there's that person. Let me read up on those notes and go engage with them. It's such a great thing because you're gonna stand out, but along with that research, it's kind of having a game plan. Be prepared to have that, elevator pitch, like I mentioned earlier. Focus on your goal and what you're looking for. Don't get caught up in the story as to what happened to you. A lot of times people are like, oh, well, this is what happened to me and woe is me. Sorry, I just hit my mic. Woe is me. As much as I empathize with what you went through, when you're at networking events looking for that next opportunity, that's not necessarily the best approach. So you want to have that approach about what you're looking for, your current goal, and the next thing, have a list of your accomplishments, measurable accomplishments, memorized. Don't be like, oh yeah, well, I exceeded my goal, but I don't remember the percentage of what I exceeded my goal, or I reduced expenses, but I don't remember how much, or I did this project and we did really good, but I forget the metrics. Get those down, write them down so you have them ready to go. Because when you mention metrics, when I say metrics, when you mention that, hey, well, I actually was able to save payroll by reducing the overtime by $10,000 in 1 year, or I increased revenue by $50,000, or I reduced expenses by 5,000, whatever that is. I completed my projects consistently a month in advance. I got awards for ABC. These are things that are going to validate what you're saying. It's if I hear you say those things, I'm less likely to question you and check up on that and see if I can find out if it's true if you're providing me stats. All right. The next thing is, for job seekers, focus on building those relationships. Don't just go in for the ask. Let's just be honest. It comes across desperate. You don't want to come in there like, I need a job. Can you help me? That's no, stop. Go in with building that relationship. Get to know them. Mention that you saw them on LinkedIn, or that you noticed that they spoke and you really enjoyed what they had to say. But let that ask come after you've built a little bit of that relationship. And when I say relationship, I'm talking about that speed dating relationship. Like, hey, you had about 5 questions that you asked and interchanged with them. Now might be a safe time to go in for the ask, but just don't make it the first thing you do. We talked about bringing some kind of connection information. If you have that digital business card, if you have the physical business card, and you want to give it, that's fine. I'm not going to say don't give it to them. You know, send them a personalized message on LinkedIn is a great way of doing it as well. So have a way for them to find how to get a hold of you after you walk away. And here's where them remembering you by wearing something bright, wearing something that's out of the ordinary, maybe, or the fact that you said, hey, I sent you a personalized invitation and I have a digital business card. It's a new thing. Do you mind if I tap it on your phone so you have my contact information? That's 2 things. 1, if they have your information, they're going to keep it. But 2, they might be impressed with the fact that you have some technology that they don't have. All right. And then here are the last 2 things. Be ready with your asks and offers. Know what you're looking for. If you need advice, job leads, connections, introductions, be ready for what you need. Don't fumble over the ask and just say, I need a job. What is it? I would love for you to introduce me to your recruiter, if that's even a possibility, or pass my resume along. What is that ask that you're looking for? And then offer something in return, a helpful resource, connection, or insight. Say, you know what? And if nothing else, if nothing works out, if I ever can be a resource to you, or help, assist you with anything, I'm always happy to assist with and mention your skills. I'm happy to present any HR things you need. If you need any coaching, training, or recruitment advice, I'm here to help. So those are some things as a job seeker I wanted to share, because again, it sucks being a job seeker sometimes, unless you did it by choice. And it's something that you want to have all your ducks in a row so that you present yourself, because again, those networking events, sometimes you only have one impression and one chance to make that first impression. So, Houston, we have somebody else who has joined us. But before we bring him on stage, what are your thoughts about some of the things I shared, and what else do you want to add to that?
I'm torn on the ask part, right? Because I feel like it should be offer, 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 ask. And I think about somebody in my network. I was trying to find an example of somebody who just gives without asking. But if this person had to tap in, if this person just made the post that says, hey guys, I'm so sorry to even bother you, but I need $5 from everybody, they would without a doubt, and it's not the reason to do it, guys, right? It's not for fundraising, but without a doubt, if they needed help, I know I would reach in my pocket. Felipe, I know you would. I know there's at least 10 people that do live events who would say the same. And I'm going to say the name. And if you guys agree, I want you to say heck yes and tag the person. If you can think of somebody else, if somebody's in your head right now and I don't say their name, I want you to still tag them. But Meryl Cass is probably my favorite gold star holder on this platform for networking. Give, 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 give. And I've never been asked for anything except, hey, Melissa, would you take time to read this, watch this? I thought you might enjoy it. And that is still a give, because it's offering me some kind of knowledge, new perspective, new opportunity to connect. And all he's asking of me is to allow myself the opportunity. And so when I think about an ask, that's the kind of ask I really want if I'm going to say, do an ask on there before you get to know somebody. Because I can call Felipe and say, Felipe, buy me lunch, please. I'm hungry. Do it. And I'm sure he would. That's not the ask he's talking about.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because I want to make sure that there's the clarification. Your approach with ask, I totally agree and support. My thing is that it's like that first LinkedIn connection request, don't jump in with an ask. That first time you meet somebody at a networking event, don't start off the conversation with an ask. Those are the scenarios that I'm referring to that I think is definitely important. But to your point is, definitely ask. There's nothing wrong with asking. I think it's important for people to put themselves out there, especially when they need to. And looking for a job, putting that open to work banner, that's a way of, hey, that's an ask. Hey, I'm open to work. Please let me know about opportunities.
Exactly. And there are ways to do an ask, but I want to be specific. This is not an ask for, hey, fund my business just because we've connected now, because I've received those. I've also been told, hey, you seem to care about humans. Here, I need you to fund this mission I'm on. I don't know you. I'm sorry. I think what you're doing is great. My level of support on this platform first is, let me learn about you. Let me give you time enough to receive data by being a connection, by observing, by engaging. If I see I would like something, I will invest more time. Wakabumi is an example of Felipe and I both giving back once we're comfortable in knowing who you are and what you're about. But we have both worked in industries that require us to take a pause and go, is this real? Let's assess. What's the risk? Because there's a lot of lost data out there. And banking and background screening, we see a lot of theft. We see a lot of fraud. We see a lot of scams on the internet too, right? We're playing on a very dangerous playground. But it's not about the financial gain when you meet somebody. When you think networking, that's not fundraising. And so networking should be, how can I get to know Felipe enough to know what I can help him with, so that maybe he would by default ask me the same question next. That should be the mentality when you're networking, guys. Maybe they'll ask you, but don't even set it up to where you expect him to offer it in return, because that's not a requirement just because you go to network on an event either. And so there's some balance there, but I think showing up to give is always beneficial. And we've done it, right, Felipe? Every person who's ever watched the views you were talking about on YouTube, that happened over time because we showed up to give it away free. And we did it with nobody but maybe Ken Dunner, who was going to be screaming at us, Kenny, Kenneth. He supported us and wanted to watch us argue, but the rest came naturally over time. And we do have a network that I believe we could tap into to ask for support in a job search, in an introduction, in, you know, coming on the show and sharing their opinions. They trust us to do that now, and then to have the ability to repurpose the content
I
off of
mean,
this platform. It's a huge thing if you
Yeah.
really get perspective.
Introductions are huge, and we're going to go to David in a second here, but I want to touch on two things you mentioned, because you talk about people, nonprofits going to funders that are going to give their money to a good cause need to know why. Oh, David, where'd you go, David? Come back, please. And so funders definitely need to see that. So when they get the chance to see or hear or learn about what you're doing, they're more likely to be curious about helping you. But sometimes you talked about giving, and for me, I'll be honest, I never thought about it, but I'm playing. A part of me is playing the networking long game, and I've said this before. This is not a secret, but I've never really phrased it as the networking long game. For the last 5-10 years, what I've been doing here on LinkedIn and sharing and giving back and coaching and teaching for free has been so that I can build a reputation, so that people can build trust, so that people understand what I'm sharing is accurate, valuable, helpful. Because remember I said I want to be able to sit with my wife one day, retire by, she wants a lake house or something by water or river, and I want to do what I enjoy. I may need to charge for it to keep on making money, maybe. This networking time right now, I'm kind of building that trust, saying, hey, if you ever have someone that you need to refer to me that I'm going to charge, at least you know that they're going to get valuable information, because I've built that reputation. I've built that trust through all this networking that we've been doing here over the years. So think about it as a long game. Think about it as a short game. It's, that connection that you made 5 years ago might benefit you today, even though they didn't benefit you for 5 years. But the fact that you have that connection, it doesn't mean that they're going to be an immediate value. It might be a long game value.
I love that you said that. And guys, really, that is where it's at, right? It really is, because if you try to do it tomorrow, you're going to come off pitchy. If you come in like a wrecking ball, you're going to offend some. You're going to wreck some things. You're not going to do it well. And I'll be honest, I've had to block people because of the way they just didn't take no for an answer, or they misrepresented, right? Like, I hate when AI happens in the DMs, because they'll say, hey, I was looking at your profile and I think I need to help you with these things. And if they ever looked at me, took 2 seconds to pause, they would have never offered me whatever it was, right? And so I think if you're going to move with authenticity. I know we've talked about it a lot, and everybody had kind of let the word die off because it was overused for a minute. But in the long run, we're gonna know, right? There is no hiding it, because in the long run, we're gonna find out. Which is why I don't mind being me in front of you. I'm not always as loud in a networking event. I'm not always outgoing to the same degree, but I would show up at a networking event in a chicken suit. I would show up in the bunny suit, the likes of Christmas Story. My long-term goal is to get a Fortune 500 company to pay me to do so, to stand in front of people like you and say, hey, this is how we could get motivated today.
Hey, I worked in HR. I had to get dressed up a lot.
It's a silly goal, but honestly, guys, I teach fun and passion. And I'm not going to be able to come on LinkedIn to a bunch of strangers, no connections, no work history, no photo, and say, hey, I want to dress up in a bunny suit in front of your colleagues. It's going to come off a little odd. But if you get to know me, right, if this isn't your first experience at the show, if you've spent time with us on the platform, you understand that there's a lot of layers to that conversation and what that actually means for me in the long run. But you have to develop the story, guys. And it's something that Felipe and I learned a lot about this last year as authors, is you can't just come in and say, hey, this is what I believe, and have everybody believe it at that same level, unless you define it, explain it. How did you get to that? Show me your math. Like, I see 2 + 2 is 4. If you show me 2 + 2 and you put some tallies on the board and we sort the data and we figure it out, I learned that way. But if you just tell me 2 + 2 is 4 and I can't visualize it and I don't understand, and what is that even? What plus, right? What is plus? that. You got to make sure your message is there. It's clear. Anybody who just happened into the room can understand what's being talked about. That 5 to 75-year-old mentality is what I've heard a lot, right? Felipe, when you talk to the 5-year-old and the 75-year-old in the room and they both can understand your message, you're going to catch everybody. And so think about what you're sharing and why you're sharing it. Get clear. And if you're not sure, ask for help. We're here. Get your stinking selves up here on this stage and go, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Also, Carolyn, yes, I'm sorry you're going through it. I know you've had a lot of stuff going on, and it's hard, guys, because we don't control what the businesses need. And as a business leader, I understand there are things we're supposed to hit, right? But I don't think there's enough support in some ways to allow people to struggle when they need to, or be able to give the percentage of what they can in the moment. And I think some of those things are even under attack. And so if there's any way we can help, let me know for sure. I'm certain Felipe would be happy to look over your profile too, and we can give you some feedback. But it's only our network support that's going to help us help her. And that's a fact, because even if we can help, we're still going to need to tap on one of you to say, hey, who of you is hiring X, right? And so just think through that stuff. Also, who's following Felipe on YouTube? I want to know. He's got how many now, Felipe?
57. Oh, and Carolyn. So Carolyn just came up in the net. We lost her. So Carolyn, please come back up, and David too. Yeah, I have 57. I only had like 30 maybe a month and a half ago, but since we've been doing this, it's definitely been growing. And it's been nice because even like colleagues and friends have told me they've started visiting some of it. And so it definitely was something that I think it's helping the visibility, it's helping the reach, and it's helping get the message out that people need to hear. And I think for us, it's been really beneficial. Oh, and
hey,
here,
Nick, I got to tell you, I see your comment there. You did not miss the entire show because you got 31 minutes left, and you could be part of Team Replay. You literally get to go right back to the beginning. That's what we're talking about, is we are live and living on YouTube now. I just went to my channel, and I know we have Carolyn back, so I'll hush in a second, but I just went to my channel, and I love that you're on a playlist there. I've kind of just made the Document Then Act YouTube channel, and I'm going to have a bunch of stuff happening, right? Just like you have your combination. But I'm excited, guys. I think, honestly, for me, it's part of the legacy and leaving it for your family. My kids, they get to tap into that coaching that they won't listen to me now, but maybe when I'm not there knowing they're listening, they're going to play it back. And I might have already heard a little bit of that coming from my eldest, but this is also for you, and it's for us. I listen back to this stuff, Felipe. I don't know if you have, but I highly recommend it. Even just
I do.
play back.
Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, that was too funny. And other times like, all right, we need to keep on doing this. We're doing something good here. And it just reinforces the need. And one other thing, you've mentioned this before, and you just said it right now about how you kind of we're leaving a little bit of the legacy to our families that can go back and watch these sometimes. I gotta say, we did on the Social Saturday chat, we do spotlights on the different co-hosts, and they did a spotlight on me a couple months ago, and they've been recording it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, right? And so when they did the spotlight on me, I sent that podcast to my wife and kids. They said they learned more about me and what I was doing in that hour and a half podcast, because they don't attend these rooms. And sometimes we forget to share what we're doing with our loved ones. And so leaving a legacy where you can is always beneficial. But so I just wanted to reinforce that because you mentioned that a lot, Melissa, and I think it's an important point. But let's get to Carolyn. And I do want to give a shout out to Kinga for watching on my YouTube page. Thank you, Kinga. You're awesome. But Carolyn, thank you for joining us on stage. Please, Mike, can share your questions, thoughts, whatever you want to share. Mike is yours.
Oh, good morning. Thank you, Melissa, Felipe. I appreciate the opportunity. I wanted to say that it's not, I mean, yes, I lost my job, but I love my job and I will always love the company. And I understand it was a company decision because of my inabilities now. And I'm relearning how to do certain things like be different. And um, I'm not that Texas tornado that I used to be. I am more of a tumbleweed now. Not that that's bad, but my brain doesn't work the way it used to. So I have to find something that will help my brain perform. And I, when the HR lady came, she came out and she picked up.
Oh no, we lost Carolyn. What happened?
Darn it, guys. This is the real thing I hate about live events is you need a little bit more bandwidth to be on Restream than you would have just an audio.
Okay, don't get bad mouth Restream. I'm not StreamYard.
I'm not. Listen,
We'll talk.
I'm
No, I
talking.
want to have a debate with you about that. But Carolyn's back. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I dropped off, didn't I?
Yeah, but you're back now. Thank you.
I'm back. But I just wanted to say that Melissa and Felipe, you both, and there's a couple of other people that have really kind of, I would say, ignited the fire, because everything that is in my soul, like I refuse, there for a while, I wasn't sure, and I'm still not 100% sure, but I be damned, I'm not.
Oh no, I love what she was saying too, and hopefully she's gonna come back and finish that, because what she was saying was so important for anyone listening that resonated with what Carolyn was saying just now. As we wait for her to come back, don't let it control you. I've been talking to a lot of people right now that are going through a lot of job loss because of funding going away and USAID and things of that sort. And there are people that are scared, but there's just as many people that are just they're frustrated, they're angry, and they're going to channel that because they know that they have skills to offer. They know that they are still capable of learning. They know that they have tenacity to overcome things. So being able to channel that is so important. Carolyn, thank you for coming back. I'm so glad you were just saying something so powerful right there. You left off when you were saying that you weren't going to let it stop you. Please continue. Oh, Carolyn, you there? We can't hear you. Houston, can you hear me?
I
I can
can.
hear you.
Oh, wait, Carolyn, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Now we can hear you. Go ahead, please. Oh, no. Oh, no. Technology can be such a pain in the
no
butt.
joke, guys. This is an upload speed issue. It's not the download, because when she is listening, she can hear us okay, but the upload speed, I think, is struggling a bit. I hate to say it, but I think maybe somebody message her and just ask her to reset her internet or to close the app and try to come back and see it, like her browser, and start over and see if it can do it. I don't know. I think it's important though, right? It really is about owning the moment, and I know what she's overcoming, and I don't know if Carolyn, are you back? I see you. While we're waiting for her to jump in, I don't know if you know, Felipe, but I have a third book I'm participating in this coming year with Nick.
I figured you would be. I figured that's
Yeah.
I could see you in that one.
Yeah, More Than Our Diagnosis, which it's a collaboration book about being diagnosed with whatever it was, and then rising above it, or living through it, or tackling in spite of, right? And we're going to really dive into that, but that's that thing, guys. We all have that thing, and it doesn't have to be a diagnosis. It could just be debt. It could be trauma. It could be chaos at home. It could be chaos at work. There's something, and we're going to have to face it anyway. And so I just love hearing that empowered voice, Carolyn, you're bringing to the stage today. And I'm going to give the mic back to you, but thank you so much for being willing to do that. Carolyn, can you go ahead? Are you good? Yeah. Yeah. So,
Right.
Carolyn,
Yeah, it's
maybe,
an upload. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can just text it to us, or type it to Felipe, whatever you want to do to me. We'll read it on your behalf because I think the upload speed is struggling. But Felipe, it's just life is hard. Being a human isn't easy. Even I don't know if anybody has heard this before, but it's not the most fun job I've ever had. Um, but I think it's important to keep pushing through, and the things that matter to us matter for a reason, right? And life gets hard, and it's part of the roller coaster. It's never always good. It isn't. And whether it's today or in 20 years, we're all going to face that health issue that's going to limit some capacity. Felipe's been struggling with his eyesight right now. He had to put his eye to rest and, wearing shades and closing his eyes if he didn't need to use it, and kind of just taking deep breaths. And he talked about it, right?
Oh, I did more than that. We were trying to watch a movie, and it was at the worst part where it was blurry. And I looked at my brother. I'm like, do you have one of those little square pieces of gauze still? He's like, yeah, I got a box left. I'm like, give me a one. And I go, you have any tape? He's like, yeah. And then I'm like, I need some electrical tape because I want it to be dark. I put that over my eye. I put the regular tape over it. Then I put the black electrical tape over it so it'd be dark. And then I put my glasses on it so I could watch TV because the blurriness was so bad. And I did not take a picture for you because I know that you would have posted that picture all over.
You can't say I would post it because I have a ton of photos.
If I had showed, actually, I do have a picture of it. If I showed it to you, you'd be like, please let me post it, please, please, please.
I would ask. Listen, you're giving two stories right now. You're saying I posted all over, but I asked and you said no, and I listened. So there it is, guys. But the reality,
no. I didn't. I said I have one. I didn't share it with you though.
No, I know, and that's okay. But listen, I love that you're honest about it, right? Because as we age, it's going to be harder. There's some of us who are younger who start out with issues. I can think of a guy that I remember he was like 14, 15. I was younger, right? And he was just the sweetest guy, but he had this pouch attached to him at our pool. And it was Arizona summertime, nowhere to really hide the pouch thing. And I was like, curious, and the pouch had a device inside. It was electronic, and I was like, what's going on there? And he said, well, I have diabetes, and this helps me with my insulin, and it's going to protect the water from touching it, but that way I can hang out by the pool. At 15. And I imagine now he's probably 50 or so if his health has withheld and sustained and all the good things have been going. But I imagine just having to deal with that every day and knowing that my mom and dad were diabetic and what they face, and just being diabetic in my pregnancy. I had gestational diabetes, and I would get so out of sorts. I would be so dizzy. And the world would spin, all because I didn't get enough protein in the last hour or so. And it's a small thing, but that's a very widely known diagnosis that many tackle. Arthritis, like I have, the bursitis, the pinched nerves. Very common back pain, huh, Felipe? Have you ever experienced back pain?
I'm dealing with it right now, but I slept with a heating pad last night. But God, I sound old as dirt. No, but you know what though? It's one of those things where I think we all have someone that we know, or have something that we've dealt with. I've been transparent about my anxiety since I had that horrible car accident 20 years ago, and how I learned how to manage through it, and how but it still creeps up every once in a while when things happen. People have diagnoses that they have to deal with for the rest of their life. They don't get over it. They learn how to manage through it. And I think that's why what Nick is doing with this book, and I love that Carolyn's in this book and that you're in this book, because it takes a lot of courage to share that story. It is something that. What's that?
You're not in the book? I hear there might be one spot left. So I got to say it now because I don't ever want to hear, well, you didn't ask me.
I know. I thought about it. It's just, I have so much going on right now that I just don't think I have the time, bandwidth, or even emotional energy to put into that it deserves. And
I respect that, but I had to get it out there because Felipe would have said, oh, they didn't even ask. And so here it is.
I would not say that, young lady. You might say that, but I wouldn't say that.
How you ended that statement. That's it. You call me young lady, I'm going to let you win that one. Not arguing today. Guys, who's here? I want to see a lineup. I don't get to see all the bells and whistles because I don't multitask on all the platforms like other live.
Hit the chat button, Houston. It's one
stop
little
yelling at
button.
me. I'm
Hit
asking
chat.
them to help
Just
me.
hit
Stop
chat
yelling
right
at me.
there. Look, you can see Sia. Sia's
Yeah,
saying great
yes.
chat.
I'm
We have
looking at it, but there's
Jay.
other people. I understand there's people who lurk who don't always type. So I'm asking for all my friends to stop yelling at me. Look
Nice
at how
back pedal.
aggressive you
Nice
are.
back pedal. Nice back pedal.
No, I didn't get to finish. It wasn't back pedal. And I was like, give me my oar back, you weirdo. But listen, guys, I love the vibe of this show. I don't know if you guys are digging it, but I would love to know what your favorite tip has been about networking so it doesn't get lost in the sauce as well. And then the other thing is we're getting closer to the end of the show. So I want to ask before we go and we have time to percolate, but what do you want us to talk about next time? Because there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of ways we can approach life together and talk about the things, but what would help you? I know for me, the things I've been focusing on, Felipe, personally, are like getting my finances in order. Eggs are ridiculous. I can't even make an omelet right now unless I get a loan or something, right? And I joke, but there are people who are bootstrapped a little bit trying to make things happen on different levels. And so even if I do well, I reinvest back into the business. I don't know about you guys, but LinkedIn made me do that with StreamYard as one example. And so maybe you need help with figuring out finances. Maybe you need help with figuring out how to negotiate for more when your review's coming. I know there's a lot of us who are employed and we're happy there, but maybe you want to ask for additional training. Maybe you want to implement AI in your workplace and they haven't done so yet and you want to figure that out. There's so many ways we could do this. And I know Felipe loves AI and he does a lot of shows. And so without us repeating ourselves often, we need your help because we're always in the same kind of circles and we're asking you to add yours so we can diversify. It's hard to be creative a little bit sometimes, right, Felipe? Like we want to show up, but our brains get pulled into work and repetition with the stuff we're coaching on. And so we need their help.
Absolutely. And that's something that because we want to stay relevant and we want to make sure that people are getting value out of everything. So the end of the day, whether it's trends that we see on social media, on the news, or we hear it from you, we're trying to do our research and make sure, but it really helps to hear it from you all because you all are the ones that are joining and really you're the ones that we care about the most because if you're taking time out of your day to join us, we want to make sure you get the most value out of it. And I love some of the comments that people make. You know, Jade mentioned that networking can happen in social media platforms and in person. Absolutely. And you know, AI definitely has changed the world. There's no doubt about that. It has, you know, the human touch is what is going to allow us to keep AI as a tool, not have AI replace us in our workplace. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, Jay, because you know, you can easily lose the human touch with AI. For me, I enjoy AI because of the efficiency of formatting things, of maybe polishing things up with grammar. But I don't want it to pretend it's me. I don't want it to create an image that looks like me. I don't want it to sound like me in an audio. That's a little creepy. Okay. I don't even like my voice when I heard it on the recording, much less having an AI do it for me. So there are lines I don't want to cross with AI, but boy, it's here to stay, you all. It's not going anywhere. So let's make sure that we are aware and educated enough about it so that we can use it safely and make sure it doesn't use us. You know, even with my Alexas, I know where that little mute button is so that it's not listening. And there are times where I don't care if I'm watching a TV show, I don't care that it's listening. If I'm having a serious conversation, I do care. So that's my 2 cents about AI. But Houston, as far as upcoming shows, you know, I think there's definitely going to be a lot of shows around entrepreneurship, possibly nonprofit work. What does that landscape look like in the future? Also, just in general, there's going to be a lot of changes in, I think, and there might be some new jobs. There might be some new jobs that come out of this. Who knows? But
I definitely know there are industries already gone, guys. And they're not gone in the sense that, like, if you turn around, open the door tomorrow, they're not in the building, but they are packing up. They're selling off old assets. They're moving everything to as streamlined as possible. And one of those specifically is the dental industry. Um, and I know because my family works within it. My husband used to
Wait,
work in
did you
the
say
industry.
dental?
Dental. Let me explain. So, if you've ever gone to get dental work and you've needed either a cap, a crown, a tooth, a filling, when they take a mold of your mouth, right? They used to pour the stuff in and you'd have to bite down and then they'd send it out and somebody would build up this model of your mouth and then they could articulate different pieces and show you like the model of what it would look like when it was done. That was a hand done process, very comparable to arts and crafts. And that's part of the reason I loved seeing what my husband did on the job, is because it was so fun in a sense. But that whole industry is now shifting. If you are not using the technology models that they're using, you're not going to be relevant in 5 years. If you are not digitizing everything, you're gone. And I spoke to somebody recently in my workplace who came in to shop for products that I sell in my day-to-day. And I noticed on the car outside was a logo for a dental lab. And so I had that conversation because I had heard it within the family, some conversations happening. And I tapped into it and it was a confirmation. And he said, if I wasn't retiring soon, I would be in trouble. But I'm lucky enough that within the next 5 years, when we are phased out, I will be within my retirement scope. My team is not lucky. And I had to just really sit there for a second because as somebody who consults within a ton of industries, it's not a big shock to me that machines replace human activity, right? We've seen that in the Industrial Revolution. Technology did a lot of that too with digitizing our files on Google Drives. We don't have a file room person as often anymore, right? It's a smaller facet for even those kind of things. The telecommunications has shifted so much. There used to be a lady who would stick one cord into another cord into another cord and her hands moved all day. That doesn't happen. And so if you're waiting until you're replaced, you're too late. The people in that industry, they have 5 years to educate themselves in a new way, to grow within the new technology, to grow, to utilize it before it's gone, to maybe move within the industry and tap into those new places, right? To job seek while they can, to the facilities that have already stepped into the new line. But that's not unique to just dental industries. That's everybody. Anything, customer service. We're already seeing the how can I help you today? Press one, you call, press one for this, press two for that. There was a lady who used to transfer you. Now the technology does it. This is not unknown, but we're shocked and it's new all the time. And so just always be upskilling is the answer. There is somebody in my network who's utilizing tools that they've captured on LinkedIn, talking about AI, talking about checking for AI, right? To know if it's plagiarism, to see how much of it was written by AI. There are tools out there. This person has harnessed that in their job, and now that's an upskill where others get to learn from that. That's something that was learned on LinkedIn. You're here doing that right now. And so if nobody else has done AI in your building, you either get them motivated to do so or you do it on your own time because it's going to happen. Whether you like it or not, it's already happened in history. I can point to how many examples, right? And so it's now is the time, and it's always been now is the time. This is not Chicken Little Sky is Falling. It has been the time forever. If you did not learn how to paint, you had to figure out a different skill set. And once that changed, when they stopped painting things with a brush with oil and they moved to pastels or latex or rollers or spray guns, right? It's all the same. And so if you're not evolving, if you're not growing, if you're a plant, as soon as you stop growing, you start going the other direction, right? So think about it. What are you going to do with it? Felipe, how much of your job could be outsourced tomorrow, really, with AI if it was mainstreamed into your business?
I mean, there's definitely parts of it could be outsourced. I mean,
not well. I'm not even saying well, guys. This is not
no. But I mean,
but how much could I just Band-Aid stick into an HR guideline, chat GPT, and ask and hope?
I could say 20%, maybe.
Okay.
And because a lot of it is strategy. A lot of it is coaching. It's dealing with human problems. It's
Right,
dealing
but
with
let me ask you
medic-
this now. 12 months ago, same question. How much of your job could have been covered by ChatGPT? 24 months ago, 36 months ago. Zero is the answer at some point, right? Zero of it because it didn't exist.
Oh yeah, I was just like, I
And
wasn't
so,
sure what the question there.
let's take that same forward momentum in 36 months. How much of your job can be done by ChatGPT?
So here's
Ask,
the thing, though.
not just you, but I want them to ask
No.
themselves this question, right?
No, yeah. But here's and as you ask yourselves this question, because people might be like, some people are scared to give themselves a real answer, because they don't want to think that much of their job could be taken over by ChatGPT. But here's the benefits, you all. All right, Melissa just talked about upskilling. How often did we say in the past, I wish I had time to do ABC. I wish I had time to learn ABC. I wish I had time to work on that project. Time was always such a valuable commodity we didn't have enough of. And I'm not saying that we always have enough of it today, but because of technology, AI, ChatGPT, we have gotten time back. What are we doing with that time is the question I want you to ask yourself. Are you using it to upskill? What I'm doing right now, I mentioned earlier, I'm doing this class of LinkedIn for all these execs and all these people because they want to upskill. But guess what? I talked to our business development director. I said, hey, I just came up with a really simple list of agenda and talking points of things that I think people who aren't in business development would love to understand and learn more about in case they wanted to support it indirectly. I personally would love to support business development through what I do here on LinkedIn if I can support it. But I want to make sure that my efforts are going to work. So having someone like her help us upskill and do a lunch and learn or a class. These are things that, because of ChatGPT, I had time to create some ideas from ChatGPT because I asked some questions, I bounced ideas off of it. I came up with some things for her to chew on, and now she's going to add her experience to it and come up with something that she can do that can help others learn more about business development. So if I didn't have ChatGPT, I'm like, I got too much HR stuff to do to worry and think about helping another department. But it helps them help me. It's all win-win. So when you get that efficiency because you're using it as a tool again, and I'll give you an example. I wrote out this whole new process with a bunch of forms. All the content was there, but it was just written down. I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, turn this into a form for me that people can sign and return to me. Bam, they did it in 2 minutes. It would probably take me an hour or two just to format all that, to make that into a fillable PDF, whatever it takes, and make it look good. Why am I going to do all that if it can do it for me? It's not replacing me. It's just making me more efficient. It's taking an administrative time-consuming duty and allowing me to focus on something more valuable, like, hey, how can I figure out a way to recruit better or save money, or how can I find a way to get better benefits for the company, or how can I create a better training plan, or I have time to create a training plan, period.
I get that, but listen, I'm looking at these conversations in the chat here, right? I do think banks are, Gregory says banks are the worst for customer service, and I think that's important. It's still a training model, but guess what? Customer service has been bad forever. Ask Karen. No offense to the Karens who don't complain, but that's a thing that businesses are willing to wash on, right? There are companies out there who go, I don't care if you complain as long as you keep buying. And so that's why fast food service doesn't always shift. And no offense to fast food workers, I highlighted them with a ton of love. I'm a former one myself, but I see somebody else saying, I have one job is crafting a caffeinated concoction at a cafe, which I love the alliteration. Shout out Steve for that. But the other part of it is I go to Taco Bell and I order without help on a screen, right? Uber Eats the same thing. There are machines that are fully AI now, right? There are grocery stores that check you out just by letting you leave, and Amazon was in Seattle doing that years ago. where you could just go shop and it automatically rings you out when you walk away. You don't even have to stand in line. And so it's kind of one of those things where, do I think there's any industry that's going to be untouched? Not at all. I think hotel industry is going to change completely. I don't think housekeeping is going to be done effectively by an AI robot or anything for years, but I do see investments into humanoid developments in the government for the military. Military is a big employer in the United States, and if we shift to that, there's a lot of good things for people who don't, take the battle on the front lines, but at the same time, there's a ripple. If we can make it happen for military purposes, we can make it happen.
We've had Roombas already for 10
Right.
years, for 20 years.
So,
But one thing I want to say real quick about the bank comment that Gregory mentioned, because you talked about service, and here's the reality. You mentioned all these things that you do online. I do online. A lot of us do things online that used to be an in-person activity. I think that the reality is that for a repetitive activity of like, I just need cash. I just need to buy this. I know what I want. It's all good. Can it be automated? I as much as I hate that it's taking a job away from somebody in a sense, I understand it, and I can be okay with that. Where I want there not to lose the human touch is when there's a need, a problem, a question that needs a little bit of that human touch. I don't send me to an automated service when I'm frustrated and have a problem, when something's not working, when I need help, when I'm upset. This is where we need that human factor. And honestly, we don't have enough people that were compassionate enough in customer service. So there's an opportunity where I don't know if it's maybe over the phone more than in person in some cases, because my mom loved going to the bank. She had a relationship with all the bank people. She knew their names. She knew their families. She hasn't gone to the bank since before COVID. That's not true. That's not true. She's gone to the bank like probably twice, but still.
And here's the thing. That's the shift, guys. And I'm seeing a lot of really good comments, Felipe. I don't want to lose. But here, AI is Grammarly, guys. AI is Google's search capabilities going to find SEO. Right? AI is already here. It's been here. It's been here for a long time. Canva is AI. It's artificial intelligence that creates images that, hey, how many people do you know used to be the best at Photoshop, and now we don't need them to remove that guy from the photo anymore? We could just take ourselves out of it and put ourselves in hugging a tree instead of Bob, right? We don't need to pay for those services. And so again, it moves so quickly. But I don't like AI to write my content unless it's for one of my coffee chat shows. That's the only time I honestly use it, is write my promo for the show. This is what I'm talking about. I will touch it. I don't let it just soft serve you whatever it does. I edit, but I will never let it write a post for me to motivate you, because I genuinely want to remember what I'm talking about, really mean it when I say it. I don't want to be a hypocrite, but I also don't think that you're not going to be able to go to a digital coach. I've seen people tell me, why do I need to pay you for a coach? I can go to ChatGPT and have it tell me to be positive. Well, cool. If that's what your assumption is on coaching, go to ChatGPT. But there are already people willing to replace human aspects of their life with AI. We already depend on AI to play our playlist. How many times do you say, and I don't, guys, I don't even have one in my house. Well, maybe my kid has one for Christmas, but hey, Alexa, hey, Siri. How many times have you already auto set that function? And then you're going to tell me you don't want it to get better when you call and say, hey, I'd like to pay my bill. And immediately you don't wait on hold anymore. You go in and Alexa version cell phone provider goes, sure, Bob, let's do it. And then you're like, okay, use the card on file. Okay, it's done. Is there anything else I can do for you? No. Of course we want that. I know we want it because the only reason businesses do it is because their customers ask for better. We only improve when we have to. We don't invest in infrastructure unless we can improve a process. We only improve things when they squeak, right? So if you don't love ChatGPT, that's cool. If you don't love AI, that's cool. It's already going to happen. And it's happening because we're complaining about the processes taking too long because we've lost our patience. And I really, no matter how much we want to slow down, I think everything I'm seeing in the world today is happening because we're not willing to take our time to do it the right way anymore, or to really beta test before we just throw everything into it. And that's the scary part. I don't know if you guys remember those commercials, and we're going to take it back to the end of the show now because it's, Sports Bowl Sunday. But the crash test dummies, that's what I keep imagining we're doing right now, right? We're just running into the future without a plan. If we didn't plan to put the seatbelt on, if we didn't plan to have good brakes, if we didn't plan to stop distance, we should be careful how quickly we move forward. We need to assess before we move because it matters. You can use AI to your advantage to upskill and do all the things, but don't let it grow without you. Doesn't mean give it everything, right? There's some safety concerns out there. That is truth. You need to be careful, but we got to move forward.
Yes, I agree. And we have to move forward because it is the end of the show. But before we do that, I do want to say one thing. With AI, again, we all have our reasons why we may like it, why we don't like it. But also remember something, that there's going to be opportunities for us to grow and learn. And the reality is that, AI can do a lot with research. It can do a lot with helping you format, like I mentioned. It's one of those things where it can help you plan your vacation. It can help you with recipes. But the human factor, I want to remind everybody about something. Because I know, and not just the Karens, all of us, how often do we talk about, oh my God, this line is so long. Oh my God, this person is so new. Oh my gosh, why is it taking so long? And we would complain about customer service from these human beings on a regular basis. And we wouldn't be friendly half the time. Now, I want to give you an example of how AI actually has improved the human encounter in service. I go to Starbucks. I used to go to Starbucks way too often, but I use the Starbucks app because I wanted to pre-order it and have it ready. And I got points for it, and I'd get a free coffee once in a while. So, it was financially, smart. But I would go in there, and people obviously would know my name because my name would be on the cup, and they would start saying my name. And I'd look at their name tag, and I'd start saying their name. And as I'd go in there to get my coffee, because I wasn't in wait in line, because I wasn't frustrated because it was taking too long, I'd be like, "Hey, how's your day going?" They're like, "Oh, good." And they're like, "Oh, I'm just studying for this test." Like, "Oh, you're in college?" Like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm graduating this, next month." And then when I went back, I'd have more conversations with him about his graduation. I learned that one of the other workers, her aunt, was my child's kindergarten teacher. Again, these are things that are human connections that now the Starbucks people know me so well that they're like, "Do you want a pup cup for Copper?" They know my dog Copper. Copper does not come into the store. But that human connection, I don't know if I would have created it if I walked into the store to get my coffee, wait in line. By the time I got to the counter and talked to the person, I'd be like, "Here's my coffee order. Here's my money. Thank you," and walk away. And I think that there are sometimes some where the human connection opportunities might be greater if we look for them. So,
or even start them. Felipe, we started the show with, let's set the precedent today. Let's be the ones who start with kindness. And we did a great job. We kept the chaos to a minimum, except a couple of connection issues. But Carolyn, thank you so much for being diligent and sharing. I think, guys, let's still do that, right? So many times we miss that experience of customer service because we don't make eye contact with the person who's supposed to provide it. And so they're trying to read us and not offend, not overwhelm, not intrude. If you're not making eye contact, they're not going to make eye contact. If you're not smiling, would they smile back? Now, if you smile at them and they don't, you might need to still maintain that smile. Maybe they need it more than ever. But take a deep breath, start that communication, start sharing, right? They only know about Copper and that pup cup because at some point Felipe said that dog's name. Why would he tell the barista that dog's name? Because that's a human standing on the other side. And while the work is being done, we don't have to stop communicating. We don't have to stop the engagement. We are more than the transaction. Quote me on that one today, right? Can we make that the ripple this week? We are more than the transaction.
Yeah, and has any AI or any computer ever made you feel good where you wanted to talk to them again later on and request that? Can I talk to that specific AI that helped me last time? They were really helpful. No, you don't have a connection with them. So with that being said, everyone, again, thank you for joining us on this Sunday. I hope you found some value in what we shared. Thank you for Ollie and Carolyn for coming up. And and who else? Shoot.
Gregory.
Oh, and Gregory. Thank you.
Listen,
For coming up.
we're humans, and we're not always firing on all cylinders because we're not AI. We are the human
Proof that we're not AI. You see, AI would not have forgotten that. But
so
but no,
Felipe, who's going to win today? You get to tell me what sports team you're going for.
I gotta
and
tell you,
I feel bad, Felipe. I have to alter and correct a previous statement. I did know about Washington's team. I wasn't paying attention to the name change. I knew there was a ripple about conversation, and once I heard their former name, I was like, "Of course they had a team." I feel so silly. So my bad.
All right. I figured that, but yeah, but no.
You can let a girl know maybe instead of let me keep repeat it like that.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's talk about all the paraphernalia I have from the old name of the team that I've always looked up with pride and support. That's a whole nother conversation.
I mean, same, but that's not my stance to have really at this point because I don't live there and I'm not.
No. I mean, I think they made the right decision.
I need a vote today.
But today, I gotta tell you, I have a very bad taste in my mouth for the Eagles. I really don't have a hard one way or the other today because the Eagles have always been a team that I've never enjoyed. I've not liked the fans. I've not liked the team. I've not liked the stadium. The old stadium had a prison in it. There were just a lot of negatives. Whereas like certain teams, like you love the rivalry. We never really had a rivalry. We just didn't like them, and they didn't like us. With Kansas City, normally I'd be like, yeah, they've already won enough. They don't need to win again. So I'm really like I'm torn. Like, I don't know if I want them to not win or do I want the team I don't like to lose?
Do you hear this dilemma? This human.
I am. Normally I would choose.
Now, and that's the thing, guys, is honestly, I'm torn here. I have been to Pittsburgh, right? So for my strategy, I've been inside the walls of Pennsylvania, the state. And so I was like, Eagles, maybe Philadelphia, maybe. And I love an eagle. I've actually written about the meaning of an eagle in the book, right? So by default, I'm kind of leaning that way. But then the other side is I've lived in the Midwest. And if you lived in the Midwest, you know there's no such thing as the NFL. Specifically Nebraska, I'm looking at you. The Huskers are your team, and I get it. But can you also maybe just play in the other league also? Because I was in the driest spell in the state of Nebraska for years, and I couldn't even watch the Cardinals. I got all of the things, the streaming services back then, and we couldn't. And so by default, I'm almost against them because I couldn't watch football in the Midwest, and that was the default setting team by default. But I kind of like how frustrated people are getting at the girlfriend of one of the team members, I think, or something, right? Isn't there a thing there?
Yeah, but you know what, though? Here's what I'll say.
I just want to say this. The fact that people are so focused on somebody's girlfriend in sports ball makes me want to go, okay, go girl team.
Can you stop calling it sports ball? You sound like Jackie Hallberg, okay?
Honestly, I'm doing it for Jackie. She doesn't feel good.
I know you're doing it for Jackie. And Jackie, I love you. I
did it because I don't care about the football game today.
I know.
The other thing is I didn't want to say the word because everybody's going to say it today. But
I know, but still.
Like they're voting for, too. Before I hand it back, who are you guys going to vote for today?
Tell us in the chat. All right. But like, and I love it when Jackie says go team or go sports. It's cute. It's funny. When you say it, you know better. Stop it. So
no, I want to frustrate you.
But I do want to say this to anyone who lives in Philly, the city of Philadelphia, I actually do like. It's just the Philadelphia Eagle fans specifically that I have an issue with, but that's okay. And
not so judgmental, Mike.
I know, but because I got threatened multiple times when I went to their stadium and watched a game and cheered for my team.
That face you're making at them right now. Check your face, buddy. Check your face. This is why I don't want to do video. You'll get in trouble. Stop it.
No, but hold on. Back to the Kansas City Chiefs. Taylor Swift you can love her, you can hate her, whatever. But I gotta tell you, what she's done for for football, for young girls that maybe never really got exposed to football that actually now like football for the sport, not just because Taylor Swift's boyfriend plays for it. And there's some that still like it just because Taylor Swift's boyfriend plays for it. But
okay, actually, you know what? I just picked my team. And you know why I picked my team? And it was
Oh,
before
Lord.
the Taylor Swift thing. Hold on. But I actually voted for Mom Kelsey. Not the boys, but they were facing each other. And Mom was winning that game either way. So I was Mom Kelsey the whole time. And I think I'm just going to keep riding that pony. And by default, I bet you Taylor's on my team too, Mom Kelsey. And
but you,
so,
you do realize that Mom Kelsey last time, her two teams were, one son played for the Eagles, the other one played for the Chiefs.
I know.
Okay.
I know. But right now, are they both playing again?
Yes.
Both of the brothers are in the game?
Oh no.
Okay.
The one brother that plays for Philadelphia doesn't play for Philadelphia anymore.
So again, Team Kelsey.
I know.
Kelsey's team.
All right.
My math. Why did you make me so confused? I was like, wait, maybe I don't follow.
Because I like making you confused. It's fun.
Okay, guys, listen. I am so grateful you're here. You've been here, but my bladder says I'm done. I gotta go, Felipe.
All right. Well, again, thank you, everyone. As a reminder, please check out Melissa's website here. I said it before. Give her a follow on her YouTube channel as well. And if you can be so kind, give me a follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this event too while you're at it. Is that what they always said? Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Don't forget to share, guys, or something.
And
I don't know.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't just give shout out to again Nick, who is working on her new book. But both Melissa and I are in a book to my family, which is really got some serious, really heartfelt stories in there. And you learn a lot about some amazing people here on LinkedIn. So check it out.
Felipe, I'm going to be reading my chapter this week on my show.
Oh, cool. I love that. What a good idea.
Thanks.
I think I have to practice not getting emotional when I read my chapter.
Honestly, I'm not making any promises because every time I crack up, but I've been wanting to do this, and now that I have my YouTube channel up, I just feel like it's a great way for people to get to know me. And I'll do the next book after, I think, maybe not back to back, but we'll be building to it. That one was so important. It really was. And I'm so grateful that we get to be in there together. It just kind of solidifies that you're stuck with me.
Forever and ever, unfortunately.
And listen, buy this guy a cup of coffee. He's older. He's got backs. He has an eye. He's a pirate. And I mean that with all due respect. He's had a rough week, guys. He's had a really rough week. Give him a little thank you for the work he's done today. No, but really, if you guys resonate with any of this, if you wanted to, that's something nice you could do for him. So,
well, all right. We will be back in 2 weeks. We look forward to some topic suggestions from you all. Please DM us. Let us know. And with that, Melissa, thank you for another great show. And I will talk to you later. Thank you for always checking in on me. I appreciate you. And thank all of you all for checking in on me and for just being part of this community. For those of you who are job seeking, you're not alone. We're here for you. Let us know how we can help. And if there's anything that we can tackle for you, just let us know. See you in 2 weeks, you all.
Hey, guys, go follow Wakaboomy, too. We're hanging out
yes.
tomorrow, Felipe. Entrepreneurship. So I'll see you then.
Yes. All right, adios, everyone.
Take care.